You know, we've all heard the term financial freedom, right? It gets thrown around everywhere. The dream of having so much money that you just don't have to work anymore. But what if I told you that whole idea, that whole chase, is actually a trap? Seriously, there's a much, much better goal. Something you can actually achieve, something more fulfilling that you can start on, like, today. So let's get into it.
All right, so here's the game plan. First, we're going to talk about what real freedom actually is. Then we'll look at the 3 ways people try to get rich. After that, we'll get into building what I call your freedom engine, which involves finding a boring idea. Trust me on this. And finally, we'll tie it all together and figure out how to make it work.
Okay, so first up, what is real freedom? Because I promise you, it's not just about how much money you have in the bank.
This is maybe the most important idea we're going to cover. On one hand, you have financial freedom. We think of it as this final destination, right? A finish line you cross someday where, poof, work is optional. But the real prize, the thing we should be chasing, is time freedom. And that's not a destination, it's a journey. It's about having control over your life right now, today, not waiting 30 or 40 years for it.
I mean, let's be real for a second. Why do we even want the money? It's not to just sit on a giant pile of cash like a dragon, right? No, it's because of what the money gives you. It gives you options. It gives you the freedom to decide what your Tuesday afternoon looks like. The freedom to work on stuff you actually care about, to live life on your own terms. That is what we're after. That's time freedom.
All right, so if time freedom is the goal, how do we get there? Well, most people think there are 3 paths to wealth, but I'm going to show you why 2 of those are basically just slow lanes to nowhere.
You know the playbook society hands us, right? It goes something like this. Step 1, save your money. Step 2, invest that money. And step 3, maybe, if you can, earn a little more. The problem is, the way we're taught to think about this is completely backwards.
Okay, let's just get this out of the way. You cannot save your way to freedom. It's not going to happen. Think about it. There's a hard limit on how much you can save, right? You can't save more than you make. It's a painfully slow grind that, best case scenario, gets you to freedom when you're 65. No thanks. We want freedom a lot sooner than that.
This is where things get interesting. Earning more money is the real lever you can pull. It's the ultimate cheat code. Because while saving has a ceiling, your ability to earn, that's basically unlimited. And look at the difference it makes. It's not a small change, it's a massive, game-changing shift. This is how you take that 40-year timeline and shrink it down to something like 5 years. It's all about focusing on income.
So, if earning more is the key, how do you actually do it? I'm not talking about begging for a tiny raise at your 9 to 5. I'm talking about building your own freedom engine. And this brings us to the hero of our story, the lifestyle business.
Now, I know the word business can be kind of scary, right? We immediately think of like Silicon Valley startups, raising venture capital, hiring hundreds of people, all that high-stress stuff. A lifestyle business is the complete opposite of that. Its number one goal isn't to become a massive corporation. Its only job is to support the life you want to live and give you as much time freedom as possible. Just look at the difference here. A traditional startup, its goal is to make shareholders rich. The focus is on growth at all costs. The stress is through the roof. A lifestyle business, on the other hand, its goal is your desired life. The focus is on your freedom and fulfillment. The stress is managed, it's intentional, and you stay small, agile, and most importantly, in control. Okay, so a lifestyle business sounds pretty good, right? But what kind of business? This is the question that trips everybody up, and the answer is probably not what you expect. In fact, it's a bit counterintuitive. It's time to get excited about being boring. Here's the single biggest mistake almost everyone makes. They start with the solution. They have a cool idea for an app or a product they want to build. That is a recipe for failure. You have to flip the script entirely. Step 1, find a person or a business that has money. Step 2, figure out a really painful problem they have, a problem that keeps them up at night. Then, and only then, do you build the solution. I'm going to say this again because it's so important. This is the mistake that kills most businesses before they even start. When you start with a solution, you're basically building a key and then just wandering around hoping you stumble upon a lock that it fits.
That's insane. Your job is to find the lock first. Find that painful problem that someone is desperate to solve.
So, what kind of problems should you be looking for? Well, here's the secret hack. You need to set the game to easy mode. We're all naturally drawn to the sexy businesses, right? Starting a fashion brand, opening a cool coffee shop, becoming a YouTuber. That's playing life on hard mode. The competition is absolutely brutal. The real opportunity, the easy mode, is in boring businesses. Things like accounting for small businesses, luggage storage, or, yeah, even wart removal. Why? Because nobody thinks it's cool, and that means way less competition. That's where you win.
So, when you're thinking of ideas, just run them through this quick checklist. Number 1, does it solve a truly painful problem? 2, does your customer, whether it's a person or a business, actually have money to spend? 3, is the industry considered boring? And here's a pro tip. You get bonus points if it's a service or a digital product, because that lets you avoid all the headaches that come with physical stuff.
All right, so you've got the framework. Find a boring problem for people with money. Build a lifestyle business around it. Simple enough, right? Well, the idea is just one piece of the puzzle. Now we have to talk about the real challenge, making it all work.
You need to be mentally prepared for what's called the J curve. It happens with anything worth doing. You start out and you're pouring in time and energy, but your results go down. You're in the red. Nothing's happening. This part, this dip, this is where almost everyone gives up. They quit. But if you can just stick with it, if you can push through that valley of despair, you'll eventually hit break even. And that's when you finally start to see that beautiful upward curve of growth.
And that's really the whole secret right there. The hard part isn't the work. You're smart. You can learn the skills. The hardest part is just getting started in the first place. And then it's having the mental toughness to keep going during that dip, when it feels like you're shouting into the void and getting nothing back.
So how do you avoid getting stuck in that dip forever with a bad idea? You give yourself a tight deadline. 6 weeks. That's it. And in those 6 weeks, you have one mission, and one mission only. Get your first paying customer. I don't mean someone who says, "Oh yeah, that's a cool idea, I'd totally buy that." I mean someone who actually pulls out their wallet and pays you before you build a single thing. If you can't get one person to pay you in 6 weeks, your idea isn't solving a painful enough problem. Time to ditch it and find a new one.
So there you have it. The path to real freedom, time freedom, is actually pretty simple. It's not some crazy complicated secret. It's about building a small business that solves a boring problem for people with money. The roadmap is clear. The only question left is, what painful problem are you going to solve first?